point that I made earlier, once we properly architect that, we are going to be able to express this story in the kind of language. You know, I told you that I did most of my career as a CIO, but the period where I was not a CIO, I was head of sales and distribution of MTN. And in the conversation around mobile money and fintech and the adoption of smartphones between 2014 and 2021, and so on and so forth, the expressions that we loved in the boardroom were expressions around world-class competence into local problems. So that's the message that it will be a challenge for all of us to connect now, that we've done all the work for right from Amazon to Huawei to everywhere else, but we need to see how, you know, this can properly express in the local environment. I enjoyed listening to you, Dinesh. I love a man who walks across and picks this cable that is not labeled and can talk about every color that is a feature of the cable. And at the same time, you look very comfortable in boardroom discussions as well. So that's I think that's almost every engineer's dream. You know, at a point I heard him saying something about Z plug in a faceplate, and then, you know, whatever level of detail you want to go to, I meet you there. But then whatever summary level you want, I also summarize with you. And I've learned so much, but I think we really need to see how people like Dinesh can also be created locally, because it's a big missing link. Most vendor presentations at big boardrooms and so on are tiring for executives because they feel they are talking to a salesperson who sounds technology neutral to some extent. And then there's a big fear that this thing is going to be botched because they cannot see the person who's delivering. And then when you see the work crew does not want to have anything to do with business discussions. So the creation of a Dinesh or a number of Dineshes is a big challenge for every country. It releases the money. You see, for me, that's the important thing. I talked about the companies that have a lot of the money in the economy today. And you will be surprised. One of them who's in upstream oil, I met them in telecoms. They were trying to diversify to telecoms. And you will be surprised the sums they were signing to vendors, because they didn't understand what needed to be done, and they had the money. But unfortunately, they did not get a good solution because they didn't have people who go between. They were not able to build that bridge. So the last presentation, you are Michael, I thought. Michael, okay, because you called him Tom, so I got lost a bit. But yeah, I love to see, while you were, showing that last page, I was looking at the competitors you were mentioning, and honestly, well done to you guys. I mean, you are up against really big financial giants, and in your presentation, I'm sure a lot of people watching would assume that the revenues are even comparable. But if you see the impact of the innovation, the impact of the market share in the data center space, and data centers was one of the four I was trying to remember. But I think it's a really big story of being able to make a huge impact in a very competitive landscape. And I think, again, that this goes to, I don't remember whether it was Siva or Prem who said about 400 patents had been created by Simeon. And that is the aspiration, again, that the innovation comes through and we are able to do something with it in order to be able to scale. So all in all, I think it's been one of those wonderful sessions where we've all gotten a lot out of it. For some reason, today in particular, Ato, maybe you might help us explain. female participation is very low today. I see one or two, but normally it's about 40% or something. So maybe, Jeff, that's a challenge for you, if you can make the products a bit more appealing across the gender line. But thank you very much, all of you, and thanks for having me.